Good day, my name is Tumelo Munzhelele. I'll be giving a presentation on Ludwig Lachman. Professor Lachman was born in 1906 and passed away in 1919. He was a German national. He was an Austrian economist. And on the next slide, we'll look into what is Austrian economics. His work history. Professor Lachman taught economics at the University of Hull and in 1948 moved to South Africa and took up a position as a professor of economics at the University of Witwatersrand. Beginning in 1975, he taught its spring semester at New York University, returning to Wits for the remainder of the year. Professor Lachman would remain at Wits until he retired. His influences include Karl Menger, who is referred to as the father of Austrian economists. His contribution to economics was most notably his work on the marginal theory of value, which states that individuals make economic decisions on the margin. That is, the additional utility that an individual derives from an extra unit of a good or service. Another influence of Professor Lachman was the Nobel Prize winner Friedrich Hayek, who was a mentor of his and later became a colleague. Professor Lachman's contribution to Austrian economics include economic subjectivity, imperfect knowledge, heterogeneity of capital, the business cycle, methodological individualism, alternative cost, and the market processes. 20th century economics had a rise of different schools of thought. These include, but not limited to, Austrian economics, Keynesian economics, the Chicago School of Thought economics, and many more. And in honor of Professor Lachman, I'll look only on Austrian economics. There are similarities and differences in the different schools of thought in economics. And in this slide, I'll only look into one difference between the Austrian school of thought in economics and the other schools of thought. Austrian economics is based on methodological individualism. That is the principle that subjective individual motivations explain social phenomena rather than class or group. The implication of this in economics is this. The value of goods and services is therefore subjective. That is, it's what individuals deem important. This is different from classical economics, wherein the value of goods and services is determined by the cost of production, that is, the cost of labor and capital that went into producing the good. In Austrian economics, then, consumers are no longer viewed as units of labor, as is the case in classical economics, but rather that they set prices by what they value. And also they are responsible for efficient allocation of resources in the economy, also determined by what they value. So society would rearrange resources in order to meet the demands of goods and services that individuals have indicated that they value. And in Austrian economics, there isn't a clear distinction between macro and microeconomics, as we've come to know and understand it from classical economics. There's just economics. And this is the school of thought that Professor Lachman contributed or spent his life work on. Professor Lachman published a number of books and multiple essays. The most notable book is Capital and Its Structure. Because he's an Austrian economist, he focused on radical subjectivity, which is the importance of the fact that economic value was a matter of individual appraisal, as we've discussed before. He also, in the same book, looked into the theory of capital. And he also looked into how individuals form expectation. And he then said that in order for us to form expectations about the future, we need knowledge. And because we do not have knowledge of the future, we most likely need to be in the future in order to have knowledge of the future. And he concluded from that time and knowledge belong together. It is in these thoughts about expectation that he started to see a limitation of equilibrium economics. And equilibrium economics is quite central to a whole lot of the other schools of thought. It is this idea that the economy has a tendency to go to equilibrium. That is all on Professor Lachman and the Austrian School of Thought in Economics. Thank you so much.